Gorgeous day, picture-perfect day, in fact, on Long Island. The first Saturday in May in Belmont Park. Boy, oh boy, did it come alive. The fans came out in full force. What a day in the backyard, hanging out, watching the thoroughbreds, having lunch, having a picnic. Top of the stretch picnic area, well, that's in full effect as well. Big smiles, top horses, and we are off and running. No rest for the weary on this Saturday evening edition of Belmont Insider, the first Saturday in May. Hope you're doing okay. It's Jason Blewitt, Richard Migliore, and we are still here. We ran a dozen MIG here at Belmont, and at Churchill Downs, they had over 170,000 in attendance.
Yeah, the Derby has just become such a huge event, and it's not just a horse race. It is that event that brings everybody out. Everybody wants to say they attended at least one. I know you have. You were down there with Uncle Mo, if I'm not mistaken.
And stay thirsty.
And stay thirsty.
And then overanalyze. Yeah. I've been to two.
So very cool to be there, and we're here, and it's getting dark, and probably one of more than a few that we're going to be here in the dark covering.
Well, that's all right. Primetime racing season, the Triple Crown in 2015 is underway. And how about Travis Stone having his first ever Kentucky Derby call? It is Derby 141. We will get you to the far turn run as we send it to Travis.
It's a knockout. Frosted is starting to warm up, but he's going very wide as the field rounds the far turn, and Firing Line's in front. But American Pharoah is looming up on the far outside, and Dortmund is digging down toward the rail, and these three are off the turn together. Dortmund cut the corner, American Pharoah went wide, and Firing Line is firing between those two, heading to the final furlong of the Kentucky Derby. American Pharoah on the outside, Firing Line hanging tough from the back of the pack. It's Frosted, Dortmund down toward the rail, 16th to go, and American Pharoah and Firing Line, and it's American Pharoah pulling away late. American Pharoah rules the Derby. Firing Line, Dortmund, and Frosted were second, third, and fourth.
Here's your winning 5-2 favorite, American Pharoah, very wide off the quarter pole, yet he found enough to hold off Firing Line and Gary Stevens.
Yeah, he basically blew the turn coming off the quarter pole, and I was wondering, and I go back to Unbridled Song, who ran with 2 bar shoes in the Kentucky Derby, and when Mike Smith set him down, he really swung wide. I wonder if that shoe with the pad that American Pharoah didn't precipitate him blowing the turn the way he did. He was resolute, he was workmanlike, he was very hard ridden by Victor Espinoza. I wasn't dazzled, but I think if you really look deeper into this, and I think he beat 2 very good horses in Firing Line and Dortmund, I think that he showed today, he answered a lot of the questions people had about him. He was in a dogfight, and he didn't back up. He took a punch, and he kept fighting. I might be more impressed with him after this race than some of his blowout victories.
A lot of history going against American Pharoah, of course, last year's 2-year-old champion, that being despite the fact he was withheld because of an injury out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in California, but he's just the second 2-year-old champion to wear the roses. Street sense, American Pharoah, you've got to go all the way back to Spectacular Bid.
Well, I think actually being held out of the Breeders' Cup turned out to be a blessing in disguise. And that's, funny thing to say. He was a favorite going into a $2 million race. But I think it helped him win the Kentucky Derby. Years ago, before the advent of the Breeders' Cup, horses would stop racing, 2-year-olds would stop racing about the middle of October. That would be their last run. They'd get put away, have a true break, get an opportunity to grow up, kind of really fill into themselves, and then start to train up to the Triple Crown. And I think that's what happened with him, although by accident, and I think it helped him out.
Now, regarding the pace, it was on the slow side. 47 and change for the half, just under 48. Nobody outside of the Woodwinner, Frosted, really made a sustained run. It was basically Dortmund, Firing Line, and American Pharoah, 1, 2, 3 around the track.
Yeah, we got to give Frosted a lot of credit for his run to be able to close into what appeared to be a slow pace. I'm questioning, and it would bear that out because the 3 ran 1, 2, 3 around the track, but I'm just questioning. The last dirt race had been run almost 2 hours previous to the Kentucky Derby. Then they ran a grass race. Then you had about 90 minutes to the Kentucky Derby. I'm wondering how much water was on that track, and if that didn't play a factor in how slow the race wound up being run, because we know these horses are capable of running faster.
This was the winter of the prep season about Bob Baffert. He got through it, and he walked away taking his 4th Kentucky Derby. And how about Victor Espinoza? He may find himself on the next ballot in the Hall of Fame in Saratoga Springs.
I don't see how you can keep him out. I mean, he's one of, I think, 5 jockeys now to win back-to-back Kentucky Derbies. It's his 3rd Derby win. He was on the ballot this year. I felt he was more deserving than the ultimate electee, I should say, into the Derby. But I think after this year, he's probably a slam dunk next year.
Of course, we'll see where the dust settles. The beautiful thing about the Triple Crown, once you gear up for the Derby, you don't have to wait long. 2 weeks from now, we'll be down in Baltimore covering the second jewel of the Triple Crown, the Preakness at Pimlico Racecourse. After that, 3 weeks to the Belmont Stakes, and American Pharaoh would seem will be ready to take on all comers in the second jewel.
Well, you would think so. It's going to be interesting to see if Firing Line comes right back. Now, his trainer says he does good with a lot of time between races. I don't think he wants a mile and a half, but I'm the guy who didn't think he wanted a mile and a quarter. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Will he show back up in 2 weeks? Because that seems like a pretty good rivalry. And Dortmund from the same trainer, does he go in there trying to unseat the only horse that's got a chance at a Triple Crown this year?
Fun time of the year. They all made it around safe and sound. Relatively outside of the start and, say, the first furlong and a half, it seemed like a very lax sort of running of the Kentucky Derby where there wasn't a lot of bumping and not a ton of in-crowding and steadying and checking.
Well, it seemed like a fairly cleanly run race, and it probably is because of the slow pace. Jockeys are more in control of their horses when they're going at a more even clip as opposed to that mad scramble. The one thing that happened at the break, Mr. Z broke out severely, and you saw the rider, Vasquez, basically just haul him off of American Pharaoh going, oh my God, that's my uncoupled entry. But the Zayed family will probably lynch me if I bother him out of the starting gate. So he did a good job straightening up. A little crowding here, but in a 18-horse field, I was going to say 20. You got to expect some of that. American Pharaoh got a clean trip, albeit a wide trip. And I think this is a race we got to go back and watch at least 18 times and watch every horse individually and see exactly what happened with them within the running of the race.
And we'll do just that right here on MSG Plus Monday and Tuesday, getting into week number 2, the spring summer meet at Belmont Park. We'll have the National Racing Report for a complete Kentucky Derby, Run for the Roses, and Churchill Downs weekend wrap-up alongside Andy Serling. Now, the Belmont Stakes winner of last year, Tonalist, was gearing up for his 4-year-old campaign in front of an energetic crowd here at Belmont Park. We'll see how he did. He's facing 3. He's got the rail, and we go up to John Abrial for the call to Westchester.
A bit of a hesitant start there for Tonalist, and Tonalist has spotted the field 5 or 6 lengths here in the early going. It's Juba, who's out for the lead. Pressured here by Confrontation in the early going with Super Lucky on the outside in third. And it's 4 lengths back to the Belmont Stakes winner, Tonalist, who trails in fourth. As they head up the backstretch, Juba leads here by a half length. Confrontation on the outside is second by a length with Super Lucky in third. Now 3 lengths back to Tonalist through an opening quarter mile in 23 seconds. Juba maintaining the lead here. It's Juba in front by a half length. In between horses, Confrontation. Super Lucky's on the outside. Now Tonalist is drawn within 4.5 lengths of the lead as they race midway on the turn. The half was run in 45 4/5 seconds. It's Juba down at the rail. Confrontation in between horses. Super Lucky on the outside. The 3 of them are stacked across the track, and it's 3 lengths to Tonalist in fourth as they come for the quarter pole. Confrontation and Super Lucky on the outside. Juba is now back running in third, and Tonalist begins to pick it up now on the outside. They're in the lane here, and here comes Tonalist on the outside to take over the lead. Tonalist is in front. Then Confrontation, Super Lucky, farther back it's Juba, and Tonalist will remain undefeated here at Belmont Park, and he returns in a big way to take his 4-year-old debut. Tonalist runs the mile in 1
Johnny
minute,
I, and
34
what resume
seconds.
it is here over Big Sandy for Tonalist, the Peter Pan, the Belmont Stakes, the Jockey Club Gold Cup. You can add today's Westchester, a race in which, Mig, he did not get out of the gate all that cleanly.
No, didn't break well. Took him about 1/8 of a mile to really find his stride. You can see Joe Bravo was intent on getting him interested, getting him into the race. And when he found his stride, he basically went from a drive to a pull, and you felt like at the half-mile pole, it was going to be a foregone conclusion. He was going to win.
Christophe Clement, his trainer, on the record saying, I don't have him near 100%, but I'm sure Christophe breathed a sigh of relief to have his multiple Grade 1 winning 4-year-old son of Tappet back to the races, and he was standing alongside Mig moments after the Westchester.
Christophe Tonalist, very impressive. Were there any reservations about the layoff and going a mile?
Now, the layoff I thought was not, I thought he trained very well, so I was very happy with that. The mile was a question mark because obviously the horse was very sharp last year. After the Travers, I took the blinkers off. And, you know, we put him asleep a little bit for the Jockey Club Gold Cup and the Breeders' Cup where he came from last. So we had to wake him up a little bit. He broke a little bit asleep. I thought Joe did a great job to put him into the race. And then from the half-mile pole on, you knew he was traveling very well. And it's fun. That's what good horses do, and they win. Yeah.
Well, as well as he ran the mile today in a mile and 34, in spite of breaking a little bit slowly, any chance we'll see him back in the Met Mile?
You don't want me to run him the Brooklyn, a mile and a half? I guess we'll have to think about the Met Mile, yes, of course.
Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We were just talking, and now Tonalist is 5 for 10. This horse, to me, harkens back to almost a throwback. Just very hardy, strong, and a legit Grade 1 competitor.
Yeah, and he's got that really good female family behind him. He's got, obviously, Tappet on the top side of it. And we were talking yesterday, and I'll go back to it. Pleasant Colony, he to me, looks more like a Pleasant Colony than he does a Tappet, and he gets that, I think, that size, that length, that ranginess to him from Pleasant Colony. But as a 4-year-old, he's really filled into that frame, and I think he's really special. I hope he comes back in the Met Mile.
Well, Christophe Comont, non-committal, post-Westchester. What's your gut feeling with this horse potentially coming back in the Met Mile? Do you think it would be a problem at all to stay at a mile against a better field than this one?
Well, I think he's capable of better, and I think the fact that he wasn't 100% for today's race, he's going to go forward, and he broke a little bit slow. If he breaks better, he's going to run a little faster just because of that. I think he earned his chance at a mile, especially here at Belmont. One turn, he excels on this course. He's 4 for 4 over it, and what a resume that would be. A Belmont Stakes, a Jockey Cup Gold Cup, and a Met Mile, that's pretty lofty company.
As a son of Tappet as well, and his silks for owner Robert S. Evans are not far from us in the infield gazebo at beautiful Belmont Park. The Taj Mahal, in which we will return to. Look at that sunset as we join you for the second segment on Belmont Insider. Rajiv Mirage, Barclay Tag, two familiar faces here on the New York Racing Association circuit, and it's good to have both Raj and Barclay back from Florida. And I think of Barclay Tag, and Barclay's been a competitor on these Belmont Stakes cards over the last few years. Turf, dirt, you name it. Funny Side back in 2003. What a classic sort of... He is like the template, in my mind, of like the classic trainer.
I agree. I mean, you know, he worked for Frank Whiteley. He reminds me a great deal of Frank Whiteley, and I like that old school dimension to him. He's just a terrific horseman, and it was nice to see him smiling in that picture there with Raj. Sometimes he's a little stingy with the smiles, but it was good to see Barclay happy there.
I think he got a bad rap over a decade ago with Funny Side. Barclay's a great guy. So he's got a good sense of humor as well. No, Barclay's a terrific guy, terrific trainer. It didn't work out with Confrontation, but he's done a nice job with that horse, who, of course, was in the wake of Tonalist. What about the Turf? Big part of the game today on this Derby Day card at Belmont Park. Short field, but the old short but select group in the Sheep's Head Bay as we get it back to Johnny I.
And they're off. And all 5 came away to a good start. And it will be Beauty Parlor to make the early lead. Beauty Parlor in front. And Riposte is down at the rail. On the outside is Rosalind. Then comes Maximova and Selenite. Under the line for the first time, Beauty Parlor leads by a length and a half. Riposte and Rosalind, they're right together, second and third. Then it's Maximova on the outside of Selenite. The field is moving for the clubhouse turn. Beauty Parlor shows the way here. Beauty Parlor in front here, in front by about a length, with Riposte down at the rail in second, and Rosalind on the outside in third. And the opening quarter mile was run in 25 and 2/5 seconds. And it's Beauty Parlor who inches away now to lead by 2 lengths. Riposte and Rosalind continue to race second and third. And at the back are Selenite and Maximova. They've straightened away and are heading up the backstretch, the half in 50 and 4/5 seconds. Beauty Parlor leading here now by almost 2.5 lengths, with Rosalind on the outside and Riposte down at the rail. Then it's Maximova and Selenite, 3.5 lengths separate the 5. It's Beauty Parlor still in front, 3/4 in 1, 15 and 1. Beauty Parlor and Rajiv Mirage maintaining that 2-length advantage over Riposte and Rosalind, who continue to chase Beauty Parlor, and now they're moving around the far turn. Beauty Parlor in front. Now 3 furlongs to the finish. And now they begin to pick it up a bit. It is Beauty Parlor, 3/4 of a length. Rapost in second. Rosalind on the outside. Selenite, the long shot, looks to come through down at the rail. And Maximova. They come off the turn and into the stretch. And here comes Rosalind on the outside. Maximova. Rapost is there. Towards the inside is Beauty Parlor. Selenite is down at the fence. Rosalind has a narrow lead. Maximova drives up on the outside. It's Rosalind, Maximova. They're 1-2 as they come for the finish, and Rosalind wins the Sheep's Head Bay. Maximova was second, and Selenite finished third.
Purchased as a racing/broodmare prospect last November at Keeneland for $1 million. It is Rosalind for Michael Dubb, a few other people, and Chad Brown and Joe Bravo.
Well, starting to pay back on that return. Rosalind got involved a little bit more early due to the slow pace. Joe Bravo, this riding star of the day of the opening week of Belmont. Just a terrific ride, and another great job by Chad Brown, whose horses just seemed, every time they come over here, they're ready to win.
Right, and Joe is 2 for 2 in Belmont Stakes that we've looked at tonight on Insider. That's a trend that will undoubtedly continue, along with the same trainer. We've got some top connections coming your way as we shift gears. We get away from the fillies and mares who went the demanding 1 mile and 3 furlongs on the inner turf, and we'll see what the connections do with Rosalind. But it's time now for the Fort Marcy. Johnny I out of the gate on the inner turf.
Divine Oath away well. How Great now moves up, and Middleburg towards the rail into the clubhouse turn. It is How Great in front here. How Great in front by 1.5 lengths with Divine Oath in second, and Middleburg is next in third. Then it's Mr. Speaker on the outside racing in fourth. Unbridled Ocean is in fifth. A break of 3 to VE Day, followed by Sky Blazer, and the trailer is Big Blue Kitten in eighth. They reached the backstretch. The quarter was run in 24 and 2/5 seconds. And How Great has opened up a 3.5 length lead on Divine Oath. Mr. Speaker and Middleburg are right together, third and fourth. Then it's Unbridled Ocean racing in fifth. The Travers winner, VE Day, is sixth. Right now, about 10 lengths from the front. Then Sky Blazer and Big Blue Kitten, the half in 48 and 4. Long shot, How Great leads here by 6 lengths. Divine Oath runs in second. Then Mr. Speaker and Middleburg, and now they begin the run around the far turn. It's still How Great, but the lead is down to 4. Divine Oath in second, then Mr. Speaker, Middleburg. On the outside is Sky Blazer. Then comes Big Blue Kitten, who's down at the rail, followed by Unbridled Ocean, and VE Day will be widest of all as they come into the stretch. 3/4 went in 1:13. It's still How Great in front with Divine Oath, and here comes Big Blue Kitten now, and jockey Joe Bravo. Big Blue Kitten has taken over the lead, and Joe Bravo is going to sweep the 3 stakes here at Belmont today. Big Blue Kitten wins the Fort Marcy.
Do rides get any better or tactically sound than the one that we just saw Joe Bravo put in on Big Blue Kitten?
Can't ride a horse better. You want to talk about if they gave buyer figures for rides, that was a 130. I mean, he saved every inch of ground. He cut the corner. He kept finding the holes as they came. Of course, he had the horse underneath him to finish. And Chad Brown, once again, a great job having this horse ready. But Joe Bravo gets along so well with this horse. He's got a very impressive resume with him. I hope he gets to keep this mount because this was a horse that he understands. He has a great deal of confidence in. And just a tremendous, tremendous partnership there.
12 for 25 in his career. Big Blue Kitten, the 7-year-old son of Kitten's Joy, and the hot riding star of Derby Day at Belmont. It's Joe Bravo alongside the Mig.
Joe, you've had a lot of success with Big Blue Kitten before, and you really gave him a great rail skimming ride. You have a lot of confidence in this horse, don't you?
He's a pretty cool horse. Ever since I sat on him, Chad gave me one thing. He goes, if you just point him, the race horses, he'll run them down. And ever since I first started riding him, that's all I've really done was point him to other horses, and he run big. But I'd say, Rich, I take my hat off to you. You're a pretty good handicapper. He tells me he can't interview me earlier because he knows he's going to win with Big Blue Kitten, and he'll catch me in an interview later. That's confidence.
Well, I did want to talk to you because you're only 3 wins away from 5,000 now. Did you ever dream that big when you started?
Never. Come on. You just enjoy every day that you go out there to do this. I mean, and then you're coming up on a number of 5,000. I'm coming up on a number. It's pretty cool. I'm just thankful. That's all. And every day I get to come out here and play, and this is playing. This ain't work. It's a lot of fun.
Well, we all know that the winning is the fun part and the riding the horse is the fun part. Obviously, you've been through a lot, through some tough injuries, and you still ride with the same exuberance as you did when you were young. How do you do it?
Good horses. If it was horses that weren't running so fast, it's really tough to do. But when you got good trainers behind you all the time and good horses that go out and ride, it makes the game just so enjoyable. It is the greatest game played outdoors.
4 wins today, 3 stakes. You got one more chance. You gonna make it 5?
I'm not a fortune teller, but I just love trying.
Congratulations.
And I would have bet Joe Bravo could do it in 5 because he did. He won the nightcap, race number 12. It was a 5-bagger Saturday at the Big B for Joe Bravo, who I've got to say, whether you're talking about riding a 1,200-pound thoroughbred going 35, 40 miles an hour or standing with you in front of the camera, he's just as smooth as it gets.
Yeah, I'm glad he's having so much fun riding because I want him to continue riding as long as possible because I think when he's done riding, he's going to be competition for my job. He is very, very good in front of the camera, and I'm sure he has a second career in front of him.
One of the good guys in the room here. Good to see Joe having a big Saturday, and Chad Brown won both turf stakes, and he is a trainer that continues to ascend. 10 graded stakes on the season and counting for Chad Brown. Let's move on to some other highlights on the afternoon. We can get you back to 8, 9, 11, and 12. We cherry-picked the best for you right here on Insider, and Johnny I has got all the calls.
Outside. Here comes Tommy Macho, who's gaining ground with less than 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Bowtie Boss and Tommy Macho. It's those two. 50 yards to the wire. Tommy Macho on the outside surges to win at the end. Tommy Macho by a half length. Bowtie Boss was second, and Native Hawk finished third. Lead. Off the turn and into the stretch. Australenka by 5. Ran 3/4 in 1:10. Australenka now by 6 lengths. Then it is Pretension on the outside. Sea Raven putting in a belated late run. There's just a 1/6 to the finish, and Australenka is going to win it here, and Edgar Prado gets his 3rd victory of the day. Sea Raven second. Towering Moon came from way out of it to get 3rd. Pretension was 4th. We're now heads apart with Awesome Bill back running in 3rd. 3/4 went in 1:12 and 4. They come into the stretch, and it is Classy Class holding on and now opening up here by 2.5 by 3 lengths. Gold Shield is all out in second. Then it's Gridley here. On the far outside is Paxton Terra. Classy Class trying to hold off Gold Shield as they come for the wire, and Classy Class has done it. Gold Shield was second, then Gridley here and Inca Saint. Stony Freud followed by Love Dakota Sky. They enter the stretch. It is El Viejo Verde holding on to the lead here. El Viejo Verde by almost 3. Love Dakota Sky is kicking in now on the outside. El Viejo Verde trying to hold off Love Dakota Sky and Joe Bravo. El Viejo Verde, here's Love Dakota Sky. And this has been a heck of a first Saturday in May for Joe Bravo. 5 victories here at Belmont Park. He wins the finale on Love Dakota Sky.
Take a look at the paddock here at Belmont Park. We'll get you up to speed with the rider standings. Joe Bravo, not the only guy that put up a multiple win afternoon on this extended 12-race card. We did, sometime I'd say maybe 8 hours ago, we ran a few claiming races. There were claiming tags in the last, but between noon and 2:20 there were a bunch, and let's check out the claims here on this opening Saturday program. And Michelle Nevin taking the old 7-year-old gelding by Bernstein and Mishmash, who proved best in the second for David Jacobson.
Yeah, I don't think you should be afraid of age. I mean, we've seen a lot of horses winning races at advanced ages, and you bring up the last claiming race, 2:20. It seems like about 3 days ago when the Rangers beat the Capitals, doesn't it?
1-1 going down to D.C. Monday night. We hope you'll check out the racing report before game number 3. Full moon is out. The plant is lit up. And we are in the home stretch. Check out that gold rail. Holy smokes. We've got a lot more coming your way here on MSG+. Good times here at Belmont Park. The fans came out on this Derby Day 2015. The bourbon tasting in the backyard. Some long lines, a lot of happy people, smiling faces, getting those wagers in. And check out the Taj Mahal. What a pretty sunset in the background, the western sky. The plant is lit up, and what a privilege it is to be here with Richard Migliore and all of you on MSG+, as with 4 cards down, we can get the rider standings.
Well, we got Cornelio Velasquez on top, Angel Cruz, both Billy Castlejucks, but Joe Bravo just threw his hat in the ring, and he was only in for the one day. And he had already announced he's going to ride at Monmouth this summer. Maybe he should have thought about rethink that and come here for the whole meet.
Yeah, forget about the fast times at the Jersey Shore. I think fast times in Elmont, New York may work well for Joe Bravo, who you would have to think, riding Big Blue Kitten and even Rosalind so well, he's going to get some live calls from Chad Brown going forward off a day like this.
Yeah, you would have to think so. I mean, you can't deliver better rides than he did, and I don't know what the plans are for Tonalist going forward, who's going to be his rider for the year, but Joe's had success with him before and certainly gave him a great ride today. And we also saw creeped into the standings Edgar Prado, who hasn't been riding here, came here for today, and he had a 3-win day as well.
Yeah, good to see Edgar with the hat trick, a well-respected journeyman, a member of Racing's Hall of Fame, and he had a nice Saturday as well. We want a nice Sunday, though, and we want some post-Derby winners, and who better to bring in than Andy and Maggie?
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, I'm digging for a price. Didn't work for me very well on Saturday, but I have some ideas on Sunday's card. I got a kind of all-or-nothing horse in the third race, and that's the 3, Mamma Mia Maria. Mamma Mia Maria looked like she could be a major player in the 3-year-old filly, at least sprint division, after her second and third starts of her career. But everything seemed to go wrong for her down at Gulfstream Park. But I have not given up hope on a horse who showed enough ability earlier in her career that she could absolutely beat this field, and she's going to be one of the rank outsiders in a 5-horse field. I'm not enamored with the favorites, and I think the 3, Mamma Mia Maria, could get it done perhaps at a square price in the third race on Sunday.
I'm going to take a look at the New York bred sprinters and the affirmed success. Returning back to New York bred company is Weekend Hideaway for Phil Sturpey, a horse who I've just been enamored with, the son of Speightstown throughout his career. And he was only beaten a neck in it last year, and I think he might be able to turn the tables coming off a bit of a freshening here tomorrow. So that is Weekend Hideaway, your Paddock Insider for Sunday. Guys, back to you.
We are out of time. The buzzer has sounded. In fact, the Mig and I and all of you have hit the finish line on this Derby Day edition of Belmont Insider. We send our hearty Belmont Park salute and congratulations to American Pharoah, winner of Kentucky Derby 141. We look ahead to Baltimore, and we will see you here tomorrow with the 9-race card that gets underway at 1:20 p.m.